Hi, Vanessa. Thanks so much for joining me. How are you?
Hi, Meg. I'm really well. How are you?
I am great. In your
Mhm.
intro, I talked about some of the companies that you have started, as well as everything, the extensive portfolio you have as far as what you've been in. So I am just curious, what inspired this start of these two companies, the SAS El Salvador and Civar Actors?
I've been working as an actor for a while, and I always wanted to return to my country. For Salvadorans, for us to succeed in an industry like film and TV, you actually have to leave because we do not have an industry in the country. So I left very young, and then I started becoming a really well-known actress and getting a lot of work. And then I always dreamt of going back to my country and giving all these Salvadoran actors that live in El Salvador the chance to do the same thing that I did. I wish I had a mentor like myself when I was trying to be an actress. And so immediately I knew that my calling was to somehow return to establish the first acting studio in El Salvador, the first professional one for film and television, and an agency so that they would understand the process of how to become an actor and how to work internationally. So that's how it started, just from the idea that I knew that we could have a lot of actors, Salvadoran actors that had amazing talent and potential to go out there and do amazing work.
Yeah, that's a beautiful mission. And I think that now more than ever, possibly more than ever, diversity and inclusion within television and film are so important. Do you agree with that? And if so, what can we do as viewers or others in the industry to change this narrative?
Yeah, it's very important to include other stories and other voices. Right now, we do have more movement towards BIPOC stories and actors being featured in stories that were usually not for them. I remember doing a few Hallmark movies myself and always wondering, when are we going to see a Latina lead? A girl also struggling to find love and celebrating Christmas as well, and struggling to find love. And now we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of strong African American women, being featured in MOW. So I think that this is the time to remind the world that there are a lot of other people that are not necessarily from the dominant Caucasian, race, and that there are many stories that need to be told, including from our communities, right?
Right, right. Yes. I mean, I think it's great to not only bring awareness to this topic, but also
Mhm.
to like take action on it, to do something
Yeah.
about it. And, being somebody like yourself who's been in film and TV, you really have seen firsthand why this is important, what we can do about it, and how to make that change, how to start the change to create like a domino effect and hopefully create, you know, more familiar faces, as you said, looking at the TV and saying, when are we going to have somebody like me be the lead role finding love, and I totally agree with that. Going off of that, you've written, you've produced, you've starred in two movies that are now premiering in upcoming film festivals, which is so awesome. Tell us a little bit about these and what do you really want the viewers to take away from these films?
It was a very scary process, going from being just an actor to saying, I have a voice and I can tell more stories than the usual playing the maids or the prostitutes or the drug dealers, or I knew there was more. And so I also I'm finishing a PhD in political science at York University, and I work as an academic research for Harvard University. And so I have a lot of knowledge on and information and data on various subjects on democracy, human rights, and so on. And so for Halon, which is one of the feature films that is currently debuting at the film festivals, with Halon, it's really based on my 10-year research on democracy, street gangs in El Salvador, and women's rights in El Salvador. And so it was a very scary process. I did not know how people were going to receive this information. You know, they were not stereotypes, they were real women. And especially if it follows the life of one woman, a taxi driver, and she's encountering all these other people who are pulling her into different directions while she's trying to keep her family together. It was very scary. I didn't know how it was going to be received, and thankfully it has been really well received. I feel very fortunate. The first time writing the first, like a full feature, the first time producing and starring, and it has given me a voice. And I feel like it has given other Salvadorans a voice because I am representing a lot of different characters, humans in the movie. And the same with Milactic. Milactic is more sci-fi, but still talks about all these issues of inequality and despair and women feeling trapped. El Salvador, I love my country. I love my country, but at the same time, it has laws that are very dangerous to women. And so I wanted Milactic and Jalón to show the world that being a woman in El Salvador is extremely hard. And not in a sensationalist way, but in a human way. So that's what those two movies are about, and you can watch them online right now during the festival, and hopefully for the future festivals that are coming as well.
Congratulations on both of those films. I think that as an actress, as an actor, you know, many people think that it's just their job to act and to create good content for others to view. I think more importantly, though, what you've done truly is a testament to what it means to be in the industry, which is, as we mentioned, you wanted to see more faces like your own. So why not say, hey, I'm producing my own thing and I'm going to be that face for others who are looking? Because at the end of the day, it's not just actresses who look at the TV and say, I want to see my people represented more in TV and film. It's everybody that look at the TV and say, I wish I could relate to this more. You know, I wish this represented me more. So it's great that you've actually taken that and been that face for others. It's not even just about ethnicity, it's also about gender. I mean, women in film have a lot of power, and I think that it's great that you're actually honing that and using it for the benefit of others and the viewer.
Yeah, there is a social responsibility, you know. There's a social responsibility with having a voice. And I knew that just being isolated in North Hollywood or Hollywood North in Vancouver or in Hollywood, it wasn't going to make a difference in the world. And my movies and starting to produce and write was going to make that difference. And so far it has. And I'm blown away. I'm humbled. I'm shocked. I was scared. I'm still scared. But I do think that those risks are worth pursuing.
You talk about being isolated in North Hollywood. What ways has COVID impacted you as an actress, now you as a writer, as a producer, your business, and what advice do you have for others who would like to kind of break into the acting industry during this time?
Well, first of all, nobody was ready for this. Nobody was prepared. I remember in January and February at SAS, we had so many projects. I had so many Salvadoran actors auditioning in Los Angeles, in Spain, in South America. We were so excited to take on this new year. And then the pandemic occurred and it was lockdown and everything shut down. And at first for me, it was almost a relief in a way because I hadn't taken a break from my work. And I have children and a husband. And so at first I thought this is a blessing in disguise. This is like the universe telling me you need to slow down and spend time with your family. And so I did. But after 2 months, I started realizing that the effects of the pandemic were severe, not only on the financial aspect of, for example, our business, right? The industry was crashing down. All of the shootings were stalled or canceled. My actors were not working. So you had the financial aspect of, deterioration of the economy and the industry. And then you had the mental breakdown. We as a community, as a SAS community, we're so tight. We see each other every week. And then suddenly we were all separated and we couldn't see each other. And I started noticing that many of the actors started feeling depressed and alone and anxious. Nobody could sleep. And so we started activating the classes again online just to make sure that everybody felt like they were still together. So, and we started shooting movies online on Zoom, and one of the most important things, and I would encourage this for everybody, is to get an education on COVID. Learn, we don't know everything about COVID, but what we do know, we need to put into practice and create biosecurity protocols that are going to protect people in every industry. And so we started teaching our actors how to protect themselves if they were going to return to any sort of set. Whether it be a commercial or a voiceover or a movie, they would know what to expect or what they should be asking for as their labor rights or human rights. And so the moment we did that, is it's almost like we empowered them. We empowered them to keep working, without putting anybody at risk. So I would encourage everybody to do that. Don't be afraid of this. I mean, this is going to be here for a while, but be smart about it. Get to know what you're in right now, and then try to work around that. For new actors, I would encourage you to study, and this applies to current actors as well. Don't take a break from this. We at SAS did not take a break from this. Instead, we focused on making the best self-tapes. We learned how to do virtual casting auditions. We prepared them for the new technologies, the new world, the new normal, right? And we are working them so hard, but they're now amazing at it, that if the pandemic wouldn't have happened, they would have never learned how to do a proper self-tape, because I was the one always taping it for them. Now they know how to do it at home. They've got their blue screen behind them. They know how to edit. They know how to get their reader. It's amazing. And so I would encourage all actors and people who want to be actors to take classes online. Don't see this as a way of stopping your life. Look at this as an opportunity to get better. Use your time wisely.
Yeah, something that we've talked about in past interviews on the show is that exactly. It's, what do you do as somebody in the industry right now who wants to break in during COVID? And I think the general consensus, you just reinforced it, is practice. I mean, hone the skills that you maybe didn't have the time to hone before COVID. And as we mentioned previously, there's a lot of institutes right now that are hosting classes at a reduced cost, things like that. So building your resume through classes, through skills, editing, learning to self-tape, these are things that are so important, because even when the industry opens back up and we are going to regular castings, who knows? I mean, this could happen again next year, and you don't want to be lost. You want to feel like, okay, if my studio shuts down, if my community shuts down, how am I going to really still be ahead of it? The industry will be. Hopefully they are putting new protocols into place so that if this were to happen again, we don't have to do a major shutdown and can't produce anything. Mostly for those who will be out of work, but also because it's a lucrative time right now actually for entertainment. People are stuck at home. I mean, in the first 2 months of COVID, people were inhaling Netflix shows and television shows. After those 2 months, people really started to lose it. They started to be concerned, and the effects of what was going on in the world actually, I think, started to sink in for many people. So this time, if this were to happen again, if companies and industries and workers were more prepared, I think that the transition from in-person to online will be a lot smoother. And hopefully with that, most people can keep their jobs, or at least continue to do things like audition, write, produce, things like that.
And I do want to acknowledge the difficulty of this situation, because a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have lost their businesses. I understand, and a lot of people have lost their family members and their lives. I do want to emphasize the difficulty of this situation. At the same time, I think as humans, we should always try to see the silver lining. What is it that we can learn from this? From a political aspect, I think we have all realized there is a change that needs to be done. We need to take care of each other for sure, in more systematic ways. Education, super important, health, very important, and so on. But I do think also as actors, you know, I could easily be extremely depressed and anxious because I myself no longer get the chance to fly to Vancouver and shoot my movies, you know. So my career has been quote unquote stalled throughout the pandemic. And I could easily just shut down and say, okay, this is really terrible for me. But instead, I have channeled my energy into not only coaching and teaching, because I do coach not only Salvadoran actors, but I coach also Vancouver actors and American actors. I'm coaching a lot, but also I am in pre-production for 2 more movies. Why? Because I will not let this stop me. You know, we have to find ways of allowing our creativity and our voice to continue despite the challenges.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, COVID is such a heavy topic, and I just want to end this interview on something lighter. So I have a fun question, which is, what would your superpower be if you could choose one for yourself, and why?
It's gotta be a really silly superpower, but I wish I had the power to make people happy. You know, right now that I have managed to make a lot of actors achieve their dreams in El Salvador, I wish I could do that for everybody, and not for acting, but I wish I had that superpower of just telling someone, like a genie, you know, without the bottle, because I'm claustrophobic. I don't want to be stuck anywhere. But I'd like to just go up to people and be like, what do you want? You know, oh, I want to be an astronaut. Here you go. Here's the map on how to do this. What do you want? You know, and I wish that was my superpower, and not make mistakes, right? Because I hate making mistakes. And unfortunately, as a human, we all make mistakes all the time, even when we don't directly want to do that. So I wish my superpower was I could make everybody happy and not make a mistake of, if I make somebody happy, making somebody else unhappy, you know, having that balance.
You're definitely in the right industry then, because I always look at entertainment as the purest, in its purest form. What it's trying to do is entertain others and bring joy to somebody's life. So I think that many actors and actresses, producers, writers that are in this business would likely say the same thing, you know, that they just want to bring joy to other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. That was a great superpower. Did you bring something to cheers to?
I would like to just share with the world that there are a lot of humans that you may not even know that exist, like we do in El Salvador. I think you cannot even, in a map, find our country. But people who have feelings, who have stories, want to share those stories with you. And we have somehow, by creating SAS, we have created an industry, somewhat of an industry, that is showing the world that we exist, that we feel, and that we matter. And now a lot of people's lives are changing, regardless of their socioeconomic background. And so I just want to say to you is fight for whatever you want to do, and try to fight for others. Don't fight for yourself, but always try to think, how can I help somebody? So on that note, I just want to tell everybody, understand that whatever you are is precious, is beautiful, you're unique. Accept that. Don't try to compare yourself to anybody else, and then use that power to empower other people and to prop them up, because then you'll be a happier person. Cheers
to that, for sure. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and all of Vanesa's links to everything will be put in the show notes for everybody to see if they would like to see any of your trailers for your shows, for your movies, anything like that, or any of her businesses. If you want to join, maybe I'll add the links as well for those.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the space. And you are absolutely lovely. And I hope that you get a chance to keep on communicating your ideas and your questions to the rest of the world, because if you're making questions, chances are other people have the same questions. So why not share them, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.